It is so good to be here this morning. Good morning. This is Mervin Hanley with THG News Today. THG News Today is powered by Carl & Sons Unique Bakery on the island of St. Maarten, with 3 locations on that island, in Colbay, on the Ponfill, and at the St. Martin's Medical Center. Let me say good morning to the fine folks there at Carl & Sons Unique Bakery for the best in sandwiches, for the best in pastries, for the best lunch food. Carl & Sons, island food, that is. Carl & Sons Unique Bakery on St. Maarten. If this is your first time here with us, or if you're visiting again and you did not subscribe the last time, we always ask our viewers and listeners to please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you do not miss any information on here. We've been out for a couple of weeks with a good explanation. And the first one being, of course, team members of THG Network covered carnivals, festivals, culturamas for the summer. And of course, the big one. We launched the weekend report. You know, we have the news during the week, but we did not have anything on the weekends. But now we have the weekend report. It's an e-digital paper that we send it to our WhatsApp database of thousands of you on a Saturday morning. So you get the news Saturday and for the weekend. And if you're not part of our database, WhatsApp database, especially for the weekend report and updates, we always ask you to WhatsApp us at 1-869-667-7443. That's 1-869-667-7443, and just hit us a message and ask us to please add you to the WhatsApp broadcast list, and you'll get the news on a daily basis and on the weekend with the weekend report. Yeah, so that's that. And now let's get right into our news this morning. Venezuelan President Maduro announced he will deploy 4.5 million militia members in response to what he called outlandish threats from the United States after Washington doubled the bounty for his arrest to $50 million and launched an anti-drug operations in the Caribbean. This week, they plan to activate a special plan with more than 4.5 million militiamen to ensure coverage of the entire national territory. Militias that are prepared, activated, and armed, Maduro said on state television. Official figures claim the Venezuelan militia, created under Chavez, numbers about 5 million members, though independent estimates suggest the real figure is smaller. Venezuela's total population is around 30 million. Maduro described and condemned what he described as the renewal of extravagant, bizarre, and outlandish threats from Washington. Interior Minister Caballo added, "We are also deploying throughout the Caribbean in our sea, our property, Venezuelan territory." Earlier this month, the Trump administration raised the bounty on Maduro to $50 million. U.S. authorities accused him and other officials of narco-terrorism, corruption, and drug trafficking. The Department of Justice has alleged that Maduro conspired with Colombia's rebels to use cocaine as a weapon to flood the United States. Just last Thursday, the Attorney General of the United States accused Maduro of collaborating with Venezuela's gangs and Mexico's cartel, citing DEA seizures that allegedly tied him to 30 tons of cocaine. Maduro has repeatedly rejected the accusations, dismissing them as part of Washington's campaign to undermine his rule. Since succeeding Chavez in 2013, he has faced persistent allegations of corruption, electoral fraud, and violent crackdowns on dissent. Despite mounting international pressure and contested elections, he has managed to retain a firm grip on power. Me personally, with all this, it's time for Maduro to go. Really, it is time for Maduro to go. And I'm not sure why they're calling up the Caribbean's name. We don't want about deploying their militias throughout the Caribbean. Don't call up the Caribbean in your mess. If you want to call a name in the Caribbean, well, I don't even consider you to be a part of the Caribbean, really. Venezuela, call Venezuela's name. But leave out the Caribbean. Leave out the Caribbean in your mess. Yeah? Let's continue with the news this morning out of Nevis. Leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, the Honorable Dr. Janice Daniel-Hodge, has issued a strong statement declaring her readiness to fight against what she described as threats to Nevisians' land ownership, particularly in the island's southern region. In a national address on Monday night, Dr. Daniel-Hodge raised concerns over the recently passed Special Sustainable Zone SSZ legislation, warning that it could be used to strip landowners of their property under the guise of development. Landowners must be aware that with this SSZ legislation, if the Premier and the Prime Ministers designate lands on the southern side of Nevis as a special sustainability priority zone, your land may be deemed as needed for public good and taken without your permission, she cautioned. Dr. Daniel-Hodge also questioned why the Nevis Island administration, led by Premier Maarten, would surrender land powers that are constitutionally vested in Nevis under Schedule 5 of the Constitution. She accused the administration of undermining the island's autonomy and suggested that undisclosed deals may have been struck. As much as 6 square miles on the southern side of Nevis is under threat to be included under the deceptive SSZ legislation, she said, describing it as a move that could benefit a select few while sidelining ordinary Nevisians. The NRP leader also highlighted a potential conflict of interest, noting that Premier Brantley's wife owns a real estate company involved in land purchases in the affected areas. While stressing that buying and selling land is not in itself improper, Dr. Daniel condemned any attempt to pressure or force landowners into sales. Quoting her late father, Nevis's first premier, Sir Simeon Daniel, she emphasized that if growth in the economy only benefits a tiny, wealthy minority, whether domestic or foreign, it is not true development. Dr. Daniel-Hodge pledged that the Nevis Reformation Party would oppose any move that disenfranchises Nevisians, promising a fight with every lawful means through the media, through social platforms, through organized protests, and in the streets. This is about preserving our Nevisian heritage, she declared. We will not sit idly by and see Nevisians being forced out of their lands for the self-serving interests of Premier Brantley. If we must fight, that is what we will do with every fiber of our beings. She ended her statement with a biblical reference calling on Nevisians to unite in defense of their future. Though they plot evil against you and devise wicked schemes, they cannot succeed. For God knows the plans he has for us, to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us a future and hope. Also in our news this morning from St. Maarten, Member of Parliament Lyndon Lewis has urged all school boards on St. Maarten, particularly Catholic school boards, to end what he described as outdated and discriminatory practices against students with long hair. Lewis's call comes as the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports prepares to enforce new legislation banning hair-based discrimination in schools. While the law is expected to take effect later this academic year, the MP insisted that schools must begin respecting its principles immediately. It is unacceptable that in 2025, parents are still being told their children cannot register for school because of their hair, Lewis said. Education is a right, not a privilege, subject to outdated rules. Addressing Catholic institutions directly, Lewis said their current policies stand in stark contradiction to their own symbols of faith. Even within their statutes and depictions, Jesus Christ is shown with long hair. If the Son of God himself is represented with flowing hair, it is contradictory and discriminatory to deny children access to learning because of theirs. The Member of Parliament stressed that a child's hairstyle has no bearing on their academic ability, moral character, or discipline. Instead, he argued strict hair policies only serve to stigmatize students and create unnecessary barriers to education. Long hair does not determine one's education or character. Let us not perpetuate practices that hurt children and families. Instead, let us embrace a more modern and humane approach to education in St. Maarten, Lewis said. He urged both public and private institutions to begin implementing the new policy without delay, reaffirming his commitment to legislative change and social progress. The time for discrimination is over, he declared. Our schools must reflect the values of equality, inclusion, and respect. And finally, in our news this morning, the National Hurricane Center monitoring 2 tropical disturbances in the Atlantic. And they're tracking, as I just mentioned to you, 2 disturbances, both of which show potential for development into tropical cyclones within the next week. Forecasters say atmospheric and ocean conditions are becoming increasingly favorable to both systems to strengthen as they move westward over warm waters. However, the exact paths and potential impacts remain uncertain at this time. Residents across the Caribbean and surrounding regions have been urged to stay alert and prepared. This is the heart of the hurricane season, and systems like these can change quickly, the National Hurricane Center advised. While one disturbance has a higher probability of becoming a tropical depression in the near term, the second system also bears watching closely as it organizes. The National Hurricane Center will continue issuing regular updates as conditions evolve. The Atlantic hurricane season, which runs through November, is forecast to be above average, raising the importance of early preparation. And with that, we've just concluded THG News Today with Mervin Hanley, powered by Carl & Sons Unique Bakery on the island of St. Maarten. Do join us again on Friday morning for a similar presentation of THG News Today. Have yourselves a blessed day further.
Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Maarten for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are 2 locations, Colbay and on the Pondville. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Pondville, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you. Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Feaser's, the cozy spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Feaser's, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They're also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best.